An incredible performance by Messi that brought Inter Miami the cup. Mourinho is returning to the English Premier League. Which club will Jose lead this time? Haaland is leaving Manchester City. The Norwegian has once again rejected a new contract. Manchester United failed to win again. The Red Devils are preparing to dismiss Erik ten Hag. We are talking about this and much more today. This is a hot selection of the most interesting football news. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, click the bell, and like this video to get more news about our favorite game. Your support is very important to us. Let's get started. Inter Miami defeated Columbus Crew and won their second official trophy in history. The Supporters' Shield is awarded to the team with the most points in the league. In the Eastern Conference, it was Columbus Crew chasing Inter but ultimately missing their chance at the award. The Barcelona 4 of the Herons all took the field. Lionel Messi was absolutely the best. He opened the scoring with a rather peculiar goal after a long pass. How was the little Argentine allowed to receive the ball like that? Both the defenders fell asleep and Jordi Alba made a perfect pass. Later on, Leo scored a brace with a magnificent free kick, calmly lifting the ball over the wall and curling it right by the post. Another Messi free kick goal, his 66th, now one more than club owner David Beckham. Columbus tried to close the gap, but their defense couldn't handle the pressure. The visiting defense practically gifted a goal to Luis Suarez. The Columbus keeper caught a lob in his own box but was taken out by his own center-back, and El Pistolero simply finished the ball into the net. Defense in MLS, as we know, isn't great. Inter also struggled, conceding 2 penalties for handballs. Columbus, even with a man down, managed to equalize, but the Herons' keeper, Callender, saved the second penalty. Even with a numerical advantage, Inter looked very poor. The team cannot play in a low block, and that, by the way, will be telling in the playoffs. Mark my words. But somehow they held on for those precious 3 points. A 3-2 victory and the title, thanks to Messi's top performance. Manchester United extended their winless streak once again. This time, the Red Devils couldn't beat Porto in the Europa League. The match ended in a 3-3 draw. We will succeed. Judge us not now, but at the end of the season. We are in the process, and we will improve. We reached the finals in 2 seasons, and we will continue to fight. You can see the atmosphere and the connection between the coaching staff and the team. The players are united, they are strong in spirit, and they want to achieve something. We have a good mentality, but in some defensive aspects we need to be more proactive, said Manchester United's head coach. But for Eric, as always, everything is under full control. Everything is going according to plan. Nothing changes here. Meanwhile, all the media are buzzing that he is about to be sacked. Let's stay in the English Premier League for a bit longer, especially since the press gives us a good reason for it. So, Manchester City once again received a refusal from Erling Haaland when it came to extending his contract. Let's recall that his current deal runs until 2027. It's not that it's expiring soon. For the citizens, it's more about getting additional reassurance that the Norwegian still wants to play for the club and to show potential buyers that you won't take him away from us, and so on. Let's call this a tactical move by the Manchester City management. It makes more sense that way. Haaland and his agent's reluctance to sign a new deal is due to disagreements over the release clause, specifically its value. Haaland's side wants to be a bit crafty here. Supposedly, they will extend the contract, but the release clause will be only £100 million. This seems like a sort of insurance in case a club like Real Madrid wants to sign him, making his price as accessible as possible for new teams. It's to avoid a situation like the one at Napoli with Osimhen, who essentially became a hostage to his release clause, which didn't end well for him. Manchester City, on the other hand, considers such terms unacceptable, and we support them. 100 million is very low. For reference, Haaland is valued at 180 million euros on Transfermarkt, and his market value is even higher, so asking 220 million for him would be reasonable, but here it's just 100. On the other hand, City also got him with a discount back in the day. So why not provide that same discount to the citizens now? Yesterday was a tough day for the Spanish clubs in the Champions League. Girona lost to Feyenoord 2-3. For the second time in a row in their European matches, they scored an own goal. It's genuinely sad for the Catalans, who lost key players in the summer. Oriol Romeu, who came in instead of Oriol Garcia, is not on the same level as Leverkusen's Xavi in terms of passing profile. Oriol held the whole geometry of Girona. That's why they had to call in another creative player for the midfield. They got Donny van de Beek from Manchester United for almost nothing. And yesterday, Donny scored for the first time in 2.5 years. I think even some Feyenoord fans were happy for the Dutchman. Girona lost, but it was a narrow defeat. Their loss can be called respectable. However, Atletico Madrid was simply embarrassed, losing to Benfica 0-4. Possibly the worst match for the mattress makers in the Diego Simeone era. Nothing worked out. First and foremost, the club's management is to blame. After a tough game against Real Madrid, not all the players managed to recover, and Simeone simply has no opportunities for quality rotation. And the aging Witsel in central defense, of course, doesn't help either. But the Belgian plays there because Simeone lacks a quality center-back. Remember, Ola Norman is in the infirmary after the match against Madrid. If he had played, the score would have been, at the very least, not so humiliating. But that's all theory. Real Madrid could have justified their loss against Lille in the Madrid derby, but Los Blancos have a deep bench, and their opponent wasn't as tough as Atletico's. The Dogs were fantastic. They weren't afraid to fight against the famous Madrid side at all. Carlo Ancelotti admitted at the post-match press conference that Lille played better, and it wasn't about fatigue. Real could have equalized in the final moments, but even a draw would hardly have been a deserved result. The only ones worth mentioning for Real were Guler and Lunin. Andri made a stunning double save in the first half, but couldn't save the penalty after Camavinga's handball. Eduardo completely failed the match, though the same could be said for almost the entire Los Blancos squad. Mbappe was invisible. He came on as a substitute and disappeared. Not a single shot. Vinicius was even worse. A nightmare performance with unnecessary turnovers. For Real Madrid, this match should be a wake-up call. It's time for some changes. The much-desired balance is still missing, and not even in sight, though it seemed just recently that Carlo Ancelotti could achieve it. According to Football Insider, Jose Mourinho could return to the English Premier League. For those who are unaware, he is currently working in Turkey, coaching Fenerbahce. And by the way, he's doing quite well. His club is on a winning streak. But that's not the point now. Everton, which recently changed its management, clearly wants changes within the team. The current manager of the Toffees, Sean Dyche, is set to be dismissed. Everton is currently in 16th place in the league. Yes, it's no longer in the relegation zone, but such a position in the standings is not some breakthrough, but rather a coincidence. The club was on a losing streak and continues in that fashion. Anyway, we've dealt with Dyche. Let's move on. So, Everton's owner, Dan Friedkin, who, incidentally, is also the owner of the Italian club Roma, is well acquainted with Mourinho and wants to invite him into his Premier League project. Reportedly, negotiations between the parties will take place soon. Seeing Jose back in the EPL would be quite interesting. Of course, it would be better if it were a club like United rather than Everton, but taking such risks would work as well. However, how Fenerbahce will react to all of this, we can only guess. But it's unlikely that this is the club Mourinho planned to stay at for long. Everton might not be a super team, but it's still the EPL. To be honest, we were initially surprised by the Portuguese's last choice. Perhaps Fenerbahce offered him the most lucrative contract. Although some of you will probably write in the comments that he's no longer wanted by anyone or something along those lines. But personally, we are not in a hurry to write Mourinho off. Everyone has their ups and downs. And if you look at his stats, he continues to win trophies with his teams. Yes, it's not the Champions League anymore, but he keeps winning various cups, which confirms his class as a coach. As for Everton, with proper funding, Mourinho could certainly restore the club to its former glory. Unfortunately, Everton's squad is rather weak at the moment, and it is unlikely that Jose would agree to take on the job if the new management doesn't promise him strong financial backing. In general, it's about time the Portuguese restored his top title in his craft. As we see it, it still remains, but let's be honest, more and more people are doubting it. On the other hand, if we take all the coaches who carry the top manager title, there have been plenty of failures in their careers lately too. With rare exceptions, Klopp, Guardiola, Ancelotti. They have been far more consistent. But we shouldn't forget the kind of teams they manage, and in Klopp's case, managed. So once again, we say don't be too quick to write Jose off. He will make his mark again, you just need to wait. That's all for today. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like this video, and be sure to watch our previous video. It just appeared before your eyes right now. See you. Good luck to everyone. Goodbye.